majority of us are lucky to be born completely normal, and we honestly take it for granted. There are hundreds of diseases and deformities around the world that people are born with. Fortunately, we also live during a time when medicine is the best it's ever been, so living with these conditions is entirely possible for people. What would you do if you were born with one eye or size 16 feet? These people actually were. Here are the 10 most unusual human deformities. Turtle Boy.
This boy wants to be just like any other child his age, but he was born with a rare and life-threatening condition.
Didier Montalvo has been called the Turtle Boy by his local village because of his gigantic mole that has grown over his entire back. Him and his family have been outcasted and treated poorly just because of how he looks. He kept asking his family why he had the deformity and was very sad about it. The mole covers Didier's back, and the shape of it makes it look like he's wearing a turtle shell. After pictures of the unfortunate kid's life, the story went viral, and the entire world knew about Turtle Boy. One of these people was plastic surgeon Neil Bulstrode. The doctor was touched by the story and decided to operate for free on Didier. The result was that the entire mole was removed. Can you imagine losing 20% of your body weight overnight? Fish Boy.
This is Minh An, a Vietnamese boy with a rare and terrible skin condition.
There's been a theory that humans have evolved from fish, and this next example might be evidence that that is true. Pan Jin Young was born with an extremely rare disease called ichthyosis, making his skin very sensitive and painful. The effects of the disease altered his eyes, nose, mouth, ears, and soon his entire body. There is no cure for his condition, but cold water and some creams do alleviate the pain. One-Eye Baby. Suryanti Arianto and her husband were devastated when she gave birth to her 5th child and saw her for the first time. The woman did not have any ultrasounds, so she didn't anticipate what they saw. To their horror, they saw that their daughter was born with numerous deformities. For starters, she was very small, weighing in at only 5 pounds. But the most obvious thing was that she had one eye in the center of her forehead. Known as the Cyclops baby from the internet, the newborn infant also didn't have a nose. You can't even imagine how distraught her parents were. She was immediately put into the intensive care unit, but sadly, she passed away later that night. The biggest issue was that without a nose, there was too little oxygen getting into the body. The Elephant Man.
You ready for tea?
Joseph Merrick got his nickname Elephant Man because he was a star in a freak show. He was born in 1862 and looked completely normal until a few years into his life where he showed signs of deformities. The very first symptoms of his body changing were that his lips started to swell. On top of this, his skin began to become very abnormal. There were dozens of weird bumps and lumps that began to grow all over his body. Because of his lips, he had difficulty talking, and soon after, a very bony lump formed on his forehead, making him even more disformed. To make matters worse, only his right arm and feet grew at an insanely fast rate compared to the rest of him. This made working a regular job nearly impossible, so he had to become part of the freak show.